Alrighty guys, so we all know that I have soccer right now. I'm with men's soccer, and I have been since I got back in on the 1st, so that's been about 20 days. And so I kind of decided to look at their injury statistics because it is important to me. I feel like I've seen an uptake in injuries this past week that I have all season. My first few games, nobody really got hurt. Nobody really came in. I've been kind of bored in the clinic up until like this week. Tuesday and Wednesday kind of beat us up a lot. So now I have a lot of injuries that I'm dealing with, and I just kind of want to see, like, am I dealing with more knee and thigh injuries now than I had been in the past? And then also, a fun thing that just came up, Eddie recently talked to Amy at this Tuesday game, in fact, about incorporating mini bands into our routine for like pre-practice and kind of what we know about that and what have we heard on that, because a lot of teams are starting to do it. A lot of soccer teams are doing it. And I just thought that was interesting because I just, like, my last video was on how mini bands would, supposedly affect, when I made up my data, how that would affect injury outcomes. So I just kind of want to think about that and knowing that most mini band routines are formulated so that it's for knee prevention and kind of lower extremity injury prevention, but mostly knee. So I looked at our thigh injuries and our knee injuries for the past few weeks. So I looked at it from 8/13 to 9/21, and I just assessed what was going on. So I chose injury, and for the first part, I chose injury body part knee, as you can see right here. You can see on my little filter. And so for that, I got, nope, that's the thigh, sorry. Nope, that's the main one. Sorry, guys. So for that one, I got 4 knee injuries total, 1 each week. And if you think about it, that's not a lot, but with soccer being just about 40 people right about now, that's 10% of our team is gone. And typically, if you count in starters and who's like on the reserve team, this is a decent amount of our team because we only travel with 24 people. So that's a good amount of our team right here, that a knee injury each week. And so then I also chose to look at thigh because we also have had an uptake in hamstring and quad injuries. So I decided why not go ahead and look at that as well. So you can see that on this right here, that week 33 we had 2, week here we had 34 we had 3, and then week 35 we had 1. And we haven't really had 1 since. So that's 6 total thigh injuries that we've encountered. And like I said, if we travel with 24 people and 6 of those people are hurt, that's 6 out of 24. I think that's about 40%. Check my math on that. But so I thought that was important to look at and think about, okay, so how can I start preventing these injuries? And a great way would be mini bands. And now that Eddie's bringing it up, I want to know, like, okay, so we did that in the first half of the season, so what are we going to do for the second half? And see if we want to increase those number of mini bands. And then I just kind of looked at our lower extremity injuries in general because, hello, soccer is a lower extremity sport. So, like, we're going to deal with more lower extremity injuries than upper extremity. Of course, we'll get a few because that's just life and people fall and people get up and we have goalies. Like, you're going to get some upper extremity injuries as well. But I just focused on, still for this one, the lower extremity injuries of the team. And so we've had 25 lower extremity injuries. Like I said, we have about 40 people. So there's more than half of the team worth of injuries we've had. Now, of course, some people get injured twice. Some people have never been injured. Some people I've never seen, you know. But just looking at it as, say, each of these was one person, that's a significant amount of injuries that we're dealing with. So how can we prevent that? Maybe that is with maybe mini bands. Maybe that's with having them stretch more. Maybe that's with yoga. But we can look into that later. But this is a good start, I would think, into looking into, okay, how can we improve and what can we improve? And so now that we have this information, now that I've gathered all this information, I can go and talk to Amy and be like, hey, Amy, so I see that we have these many thigh injuries, this many knee injuries, and so on. And I can go and do that. Now, of course, we are missing a few things from this. So I can't see, I mean, I could go back and look at what person has had this many injuries. I can choose a report up here and see, oh, how many injuries has Brandon Soto had? And I could do that. But I don't think that would be very beneficial for this. And so what it's missing maybe could be something like just let me know, like, these people, it would be much better, I think, if I could see like, oh, okay, I had 2 players hurt on this one with this injury and this injury. So being more specific, I could only get into body parts, not necessarily body injuries. There is one where I could look at strains and sprains, but that's still not very specific to, am I seeing MCL sprain? Am I seeing, what kind of sprains am I seeing? And if that is possible, I just couldn't find it. I did play with this a lot. I spent a whole day just playing with it, and I never kind of came across that information. But I think that would be awesome to see, like, oh, we had this many MCL sprains, and we had this many hamstring strains, and so on. You could only kind of go by thigh, knee, body area, or body part. You could look at strains and sprains separately, but you couldn't put them together, and I think that would be awesome to see together. And then also, another thing that I looked at was that it's kind of hard to get through this. I think it's kind of difficult to explain. Like, even after watching Brian's video, I was still very kind of confused about how this worked. So I think it would be awesome if we could get like something that kind of said, this is how you generate a report, or this is what this is what a generated report looks like. And it kind of just gave you a step-by-step of kind of how to go through it, at least just one time, so that you can kind of know what you're doing and what you're looking at. I think that would just be beneficial for anybody that's like us that are beginners in this program and just kind of trying to figure out all the tools and parts, especially for students, because we don't always get the little demos. We just kind of get told, this is the software you're using, this is what you're going to use, but we don't get to shown the ins and outs like this. Like, I never knew this button existed. I never even looked up there for reports until today. So I think just kind of having that button in here, like a little video or something, video tutorial, would be great from them, so I kind of know what was going on and how to look at it. But that's all I kind of have for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to let me know. I really enjoyed this assignment, Brian. I liked that I could actually kind of go in and do this, and I think it's very important when we're trying to figure out what's going wrong with our teams or something like that. I think it's very beneficial to see. So thank you, and goodbye.